Three men and a multiverse of sci-fi's finest spacecraft. But which ones can claim to be the greatest ships ever? Welcome to Space Doc Jury.
Welcome to Space Doctory, full episode number 25. I'm Lee, and I'm bringing the Prawn spaceship from District 9.
Fucking hell.
Bad accents ahead.
Just a bit. Okay, this is a bit complicated.
Yes.
Okay, because originally I was going to be taking Kal-El's bloody escape pod thing.
then
bloody
we would have
Elton bloody McManus. But thankfully, I just after we finished recording, I went, hang on, that doesn't actually need a pilot, because let's face it, a little baby does not count as a pilot.
Which kind of, I was going to like pull out this whole kind of beautiful kind of, excuse me, Your Honour, my learned friend, this ship's not eligible.
Yeah, like I realised before
that. Damn you for research. So I'm sure you put something a lot better.
There was a recount, thankfully, and I ended up getting something mildly better, or at least eligible anyway, which is Nell from Battle Beyond the Stars.
Boobies!
Boobies! Boobies!
Space boobies!
Oh, God. Okay.
And I'm Andy, and I'm bringing the Kushan mothership from Homeworld, which, being a computer game spaceship, I'm sure Pete's going to love.
Oh, yes.
Yep. So there you go. So, yes, welcome back to our first full episode of the year. Yes, and as you may have heard, or may not have heard, if you got fed up of listening to three drunk people argue in a pub, we had a bit of a...
Learned your lesson by now.
Yeah, exactly. These are the three drunk people at home.
Yeah, exactly. Big difference.
We just wanted to share our Christmas experience with you.
There's less now loud music in the background. That really is the only difference.
Yeah, they're pretty much.
Oh, we're not within striking distance either.
No, exactly. No threatening with glass bottles. So... yeah, we had a bit of a recount, and so our top 10 got rejigged once again. I don't think it's going to get troubled by any of the entries this week. But anyway, let's go through our top 10.
So, in at the top 10, returning after a long time away, we have the Enterprise D in at 10 with 63 points. Woohoo! At 9, the Darling Mothership from the 2005 Doctor Who, also with 63 points. Woohoo! In at 8, the UNSC Spirit of Fire with 64.
So what now?
Moving down from 3, in at 7 is the Battlestar Pegasus, also with 64 points. At 6, a recent entry, the Imperial Star Destroyer with 65.
Yeah.
In at 5, the Battlestar Galactica from the reimagined series by Ronald D. Moore.
Oh yeah.
At 4, the Superstar Destroyer Executor, from all the way back in episode, I don't know, 2 or 3.
Back in the days when I chose ships that were good. Yeah.
But still went for ones that crashed into the floor.
Yeah.
But they're still correct. We were establishing things early on. At 3, moving up, the Boar Cube with 69.
69.
In at 2 still, the Vengeful Spirit, also known as the Dildo Snowplow, also with 69 points. And sticking it out at number 1, that's no moon, it's a space station, but it's still on the list somehow, the Death Star DS1 with 73 points.
Hey!
I think it survived Rogue One fairly well. So
yeah, it came up.
Yeah, we don't have to revisit any of that.
No. And just for anyone who is still questioning its inclusion, it would not have been included were it not for the fact that A, it can travel between planets and systems, has hyperdrives, and Andy and Pete hadn't pulled up Babylon 4. They've only got themselves to blame.
If anything, it's more eligible than Babylon 4 ever was.
Much more eligible, to be honest.
Yes. Did a lot more travelling.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it did. It saw planets. It got to see the galaxy quite well by the end of Rogue One.
Yeah, went to Beach Planet and everywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a bit better about it because, I mean, prior to this, it kind of like, just turned up for work on its first day and got blown up.
Yeah.
But now, like you said, it got to see the sights. It went to a historic market town.
Yeah.
Went to the beach.
Some Bacardis.
Yeah,
Exactly,
In fact, next time we do a drunken rescore, it could actually be said that it actually went faster than we thought it did because it went between systems as fast as the U-wings.
Yeah, but it's hyperspeed again, Star Wars hyperdrives, and it already got that.
Did it? I did. I thought we gave it a 1 for that.
We gave it 1 for sublight.
Well, fair enough. In
Yes.
which case, I stand down.
And relax.
And relax. So this week I lost in the last episode. With
Really? What was it? Oh yeah.
It was
You lost.
I lost in a seriously bad way. Thunder
Lost
Road. It was basically a bin with a toilet seat and 3 kids inside. So
Was, with the exception of the Eureka, the lowest scoring ship we've done.
yeah, and I did both of them. So points to me. That's all I'm
It's
gonna
true.
say. Yeah. Hey, there you go. But I think actually we might get lower. I think we might just be able to do that this time. So I'm going to start with the Prawn mothership. Now,
You said mine was bad?
yes, it's a Prawn mothership. And I've closed all my bloody storage things down. Hey, so that's good. So, the Prawn mothership, is actually a ship controlled by a race, which are actually referred to in the film District 9 as the Polepqua. Polepqua. Poleepkwa. There you go. Polepqua.
Oh my god, Michael Caine is now doing this with you.
Polepqua is doing the bloody Polepquas. They're bloody prawns, I tell you.
Yes. They're only supposed to blow the bloody South Africans off.
And yes.
Big pardon?
What?
That wasn't the film I was watching.
Euphemism.
That was the District 9 blue version.
Yeah, exactly. District XXX,
Yes.
a parody. All the prawn technology, including the mothership, is biomechanical and will only function with the crew's DNA. In other words, the DNA of the prawns. Although this includes combined DNA of any sapient organism if hit with their own black fluid. Mrs. Look at
If you get
this.
sprayed in the face.
If you get sprayed in the face with a black fluid,
Seriously, we're making a much dirtier version of this film here, aren't we?
we are. I'm surprised no one else has attempted it. In fact, I think they did. It was called Prometheus, wasn't it? Anyway, getting black fluid in the face. Anyway. The alien spacecraft came to Earth in March 1982 of this alternate history and was stranded motionless above Johannesburg in South Africa. After 3 months of no contact and no sign of activity, a team of humans entered the ship and discovered a group of sick, malnourished prawns and then began to integrate them into internment camps for settlement. That's about it, really. The species stranded themselves on Earth basically because they lost their queen. They are a hive mind, and so unfortunately, that was the end of that. Yeah, it's not like
How original.
Aliens and fucking insane. For fuck's sake.
yeah. It's a big
Damn it, Cameron!
Yeah, a big spaceship with a queen with a hive mind. Never mind. The ship itself. Doesn't do an awful lot. It just sits there. Though we are...
Just break a lot of windows.
It does. It breaks a lot of windows. And we are made aware of the fact that the Prawns technology is actually super duper superior. But unfortunately, the prawns being sort of dislocated and disorientated by the lack of a queen and a leader...
A bit mindless.
Are a bit mindless, a bit sort of,
A bit like me in the morning, basically.
Yeah, well, pretty much. So, unfortunately, they don't really make the most of it.
I do have cat food for breakfast.
Yeah, do you know what? That explains so much. I thought it was just your aftershave, but not much else is known about the prawns or their technology beyond the DNA activation. So let's rate this bugger.
Good luck.
Yeah, thanks for this.
Yeah.
Right. Well, let's just hit it with the only score that I actually have. The only score I actually have, which is that the ship is 2.5 kilometers wide.
Hey.
Hey! Go.
So it's an 11. There you go. So it's an 11 for that. Sublight. It doesn't move. It crawls into place. It manages to hover. That's it. So
And then it moves a bit at the end, but not much.
it moves a bit at the end. Not
You
much.
can have a 1, I think.
I think 1 because we don't
Yeah.
know. Faster than light. Now here's an interesting one. Again, it's an unknown. But the one thing we do know and was confirmed by Neil Blomkamp, or Blomkamp, depending on how you want to pronounce it.
That git.
Yeah, that git. Essentially is that they came from a planetoid in the Andromeda Galaxy. That's the only thing we know. We know that they actually traverse galaxies.
Do we know how long it takes them?
There it's a bit funny. They
Have 1.
Yeah.
That's what it's going to boil down to.
Maneuverability is a 0, frankly. Because
It move a bit.
How? It just rotates.
Yeah. Well, that's maneuverability. Admittedly, very limited maneuverability, but it's not like it doesn't steer at all.
I'd give it 1 just because we save 0 for things like the Death Star, Babylon 4, things that really shouldn't be on the list. So, yeah, I think 1 is probably a fairer score.
Okay, fair enough. Firepower. We've got no evidence of firepower whatsoever. I mean, we've got to hear...
the prawns themselves.
If I could quote my lovely T-shirt here, mark it 0!
There you go, yeah. So that's a 0. Defense, active, 0.
Yes.
Passive, it's got some armor. It's clearly got other technologies in there, but...
Do we know it's got armour other than its structure?
Well, exactly. So I was only going to ask for a 1, in terms of actually...
Yeah, I mean, it's
it has-
better than the ISS, so yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Special. Well, I don't think you can quote the actual crew because they are mindless, thanks to the lack of Queen. We don't know quite how effective they are if they were suitably motivated. We do see a couple of them fight on the ground, and when Vickers starts becoming one, we see him using all their technology properly and basically killing people with levitating pigs and that kind of stuff. So
Yeah, I mean, that's a cool combat suit thing he gets to do.
that combat suit is absolutely stonking. So there is a definite technology and a definite combat ability, but we never see it in action. We just get it implied by the fact that Wickes actually uses it. So I don't know what you want to do.
I'm willing
with
to
that.
give you 1 for the combat suit.
I'm kind of... We're in that... The rule is if you don't see any evidence or anything like that, it's the lowest possible. But we do kind of see some evidence. I'm happy to give you the 1 for that.
Yeah, well, I mean, we do see evidence because by that point, technically, Vickers is a member of the crew, essentially, because that's the whole point of the film.
He's a member of a species.
Sorry. And we see him using the technology and basically blasting shit out of people.
Yeah.
The size of the crew. We have no indicator of the size of the crew. However, we do know that there is somewhere close to a couple of thousand housed initially in 1982. We don't know how many thousands. We just know that there are thousands.
Your problem is, in terms of operating crew, it seems to rely on that sort of...
Queen.
That extra ship bit that drops off to begin with.
Yes.
And then they manage to get back up again. And that appears to require 1 person because it's got like that suit thing.
Yeah.
So I think you're probably looking at 1, unfortunately.
Yeah. No, that's fine. I understand. I wasn't expecting to get much more than that, but it's kind of interesting.
I mean, it's bloody huge, so you expect loads of... But
yeah. Again, it's the whole thing is that they got stranded because their queen died. So the question is how much of the rest of the ship needed to be operated by other people.
I also think we get into this whole... again, we keep going back to this, but what do we count as crew? And I'm always of the opinion it's people who are employed to run the vessel. You don't necessarily have to be probably running the engines or the weapons, but if your job is to be on there, you're counted as crew.
An integral part of
Yeah.
of the crew.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
Like a counsellor.
Yes, exactly. Integral
Or
part
chaplain.
of the crew. Well, there should be one. It should be me.
But
Or,
yeah,
or
I
the crew full stop on the Sulaco. But anyway,
Yes.
yeah,
I'm thinking. I mean, I'd take the one just from the rule of it's
Yeah.
the lowest
yeah, because we don't
observable
know.
one. Yeah.
Exactly. Competence. Again, we have no idea. I mean, and the fact of the matter is,
Well,
they
the fact
strand
that
themselves.
as soon as the Queen dies, they don't actually know how to operate it.
Yeah, exactly. Which has. I was feeling a bit devilish, and I was thinking it does have a sense of,
I mean,
basically,
what-
if a couple of people died on the Spirit of Vengeance, what would was it the Vengeful Spirit? Sorry,
Yeah.
if a few people who knew what they were doing died on the Vengeful Spirit, they'd just be stranded there. But I wasn't going to argue it, but it was just kind of interesting thought.
We do have some evidence of a certain degree of MacGyvering from some of the crew, don't we?
Well, again, it's whether or not those people who are down in the township are actually native to the township or native to the ship, because that's the other thing. It's said in the film that they asexually reproduce, so they basically
They do eggs, don't they?
they do eggs. So essentially, we don't even know.
Because what's the name of the? It's not John Thomas, is it? It's something like that.
Chris Johnson.
Is it?
Yeah, I think it's
something
Christopher Johnson, isn't it?
That's it, Christopher Johnson. Yeah. I mean, he's pretty sort of a guy. I'd give him a reasonable skill score, but
Yeah, but again,
He's one person, and even then, as Lee says, we don't know that he was part of the.
actual crew.
yeah.
I
could have
think
been
you're
born on
probably
Earth.
talking a 1, and that's just because they lose the Queen.
They lose
The crew
ship.
cannot operate. The
Yeah.
crew cannot function.
That's
if
true.
the Queen was there, you'd be fine.
Yeah.
But she's not.
Okay. I mean, now we're into something that I think we can at least give me some points.
Yes, definitely.
And get me above the Thunder Road, because we're not at the Thunder Road yet, which is bothering me slightly. But exterior, I think this looks fucking perfect.
I will say, it's just personal preference, I did prefer how it looked in the short film version
Yes.
when it has the cables going down into the cooling tower. But that's just a personal preference thing. I just liked...
You can only judge it by the film itself, though.
Yeah.
Rather
Yeah, I
than extraneous bits. But because otherwise, that way, we can go to B-wings and start doing all sorts of crazy shit with Rebels. But
You can still count Rebels and B-Wings.
yeah, I know. But anyway, doesn't matter. I used it, and then I suddenly thought, actually, no, that's a crap example. But
I was just using an example of. I do like the exterior. It's a very well done. It's a CG model, isn't it? It's not a practical effect.
no, it's a CG model done by Weta Digital. It was one of the only things they actually did. And the rest went on to.
But the way they
imaging.
composite it in on, hanging above Joburg is just just incredible, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's really clever.
Yeah, I mean that's one thing you can say about all of Neil Blomkamp's stuff. The effects and the compositing and the lighting and all that kind of stuff is always top notch.
Oh yeah,
So I would definitely ask for a 5 on that.
Yep, no argument.
yeah. No problems with that.
Cool, hooray! Interior, we get one or two grainy shots on a camera from the historical footage, and I've got the hiccups now.
It was like something out of Independence Day, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's not good. But obviously, we do get to see the interior of the
Command
module when Vickers gets it, and that's kind of well done.
Yeah.
So, splitting the difference between a 1 and a 5, I'm gonna ask purely because you don't see an awful lot of it, even when Vickers is driving it. I'd ask for a 2. Because it's really, really good.
Yeah, I mean, the seat you see and all that, and all the lighting arrays and all that is really well done. It's a very well done seat.
It's a very well done seat with a good backdrop, and
Yes.
you do get to see the.
I literally thought you were about to say good backrest, back support.
Back support,
comfortable seat.
It's all about the lumber.
Yeah.
But no, also you do get to see his view out of the cockpit, and you do get to see a lot of the controls and consoles and everything. So it's quite clearly a well constructed interior cockpit. But it's just the cockpit, so you can't really base it on anything else, seeing as the rest of it just seems to be a black den full of rusty metal. So I was going to say 2. I was going to ask for a 3, but I think 2 is probably fair.
I'd give you the 3, to be honest.
I'd be happy with the 3, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't see a lot, but what you do see is atmospheric and fits
and it's well done.
right.
Yeah, I'm happy to take the 3.
Okay.
I mean, if it had been all blinking,
you need all the help you can
blinking
here.
consoles and stuff, it wouldn't have been right. So
Yeah, that's true. Okay, and what about science? I mean, there's nothing to it. I mean, apart from the fact that it runs by DNA, which is a bit... I don't know if
Again,
that's...
if we were doing the short film version, you might be able to get an extra point here because it kind of plugged into the power grid, didn't it?
Yeah.
But you don't see that in this one, do you? So
No, it needs black oil fuel stuff, which essentially the prawns, when they are finally getting their shit together towards the end of the film, it needs that stuff to basically act like a transmission. What? Yeah, Marmite. Yeah.
Oh, it's Vegemite, South Africa.
Yeah, exactly.
good point.
Yeah, and
They come from a land down under.
hang on. You're now talking about the entire southern hemisphere. We've just pissed everyone off now.
Sorry, it was the line he gave me a bite of his Vegemite sandwich that sprung that one off,
exactly. So again, it kind of, on one hand, the idea of DNA keying is really cool.
Yep.
I like the idea of that, and scientifically, that's not beyond the realms of possibility. So that should score quite highly. The rest of it, like the anti-gravity pig gun and all that kind of stuff, not so much. I was going to ask for a 2.
Yeah, I think 2's where you want to be at with that.
Yeah,
just from the lack of any evidence of anything else, because again, all we see is it hanging there.
Yeah, exactly.
Which in of itself is kind of suspect.
Yeah, hanging there exactly the same way that bricks don't.
Exactly.
And finally, the cool factor. Well, strangely enough, I'm going to give this cool factor really high because I think even if it's not a ship that I would particularly like to be in, I think that it's a very iconic ship. I think it looks the business, and wherever you see it in a shot, I think it just adds that little otherworldliness to the scenes. I think, purely from an aesthetic point of view, I think it's a very cool ship. So I'm going to give it my full 4. What about you guys?
I think I'm going to give it 2, just because, as I said before, I do prefer how it looks in the original short film in that concept. And just because of that, I feel I have to take a point away because I think it was realised better in a different medium.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with this one as such. I just think, again, I liked the use of the cables kind of grounding it into the earth in that way. And it was just something we've never really seen before. Whereas this is just another saucer hanging ominously like a brick doesn't.
Exactly. And what about you, Pete?
I really love this ship, I must admit. I was blown away when I saw this film at the cinema and watched it again last night, actually.
Yeah.
And what the weird thing about this film is it's generally the sort of film I wouldn't like. It's got a lot of body horror stuff that really freaks the shitting hell out of me. But the prawn stuff and the ship is so cool and the concept is so cool. So I'm going to give it my full 3, isn't it? I can give
Wow,
it.
yeah.
Yes,
So that
my full 3.
So that gives it a cool score of 9. Wow.
Nice.
So, there you go. The ship that was suggested by Sean Gleason on the Facebook group, which I have bravely taken out and didn't think I was going to score anything, has actually scored 37.
Oh, didn't he do well?
Didn't do badly at all, considering most of it was 1s.
Yes.
Well, you're right below the Heart of Gold.
Which
You
sounds
tied
about...
with it at 37. Also, Nemesis the Warlock. And a God Phoenix.
Sounds
So you're in
about
good
right,
company.
actually. Sounds about right. And they're all mine.
They are all yours. We're seeing a recurring... No, wait, Heart of Gold was Pete's.
Oh, no. Heart of Gold and Nemesis,
And
actually.
beer, yeah.
Yeah. So they're all yours except for the ones which aren't.
Well, exactly. Well done. Well done, me.
Glad you're aboard, Andy.
Yeah. Thank God for you.
It's a public service, really.
Right. Okay. Well, there you go. So that was the Prawn mothership, and well,
Go back to your downship now, Lee.
yes, I can relax, rest easy. And so now it's time on to our next ship, and who came second last time?
That'd be me then.
That'll be you, yes.
Yep.
So, okay, the intergalactic booby spaceship of boobiness, Nell from Battle Beyond the
Simply
Stars.
the breast.
I'm so...
That is the theme for that song. that ship is going for that now. You brought that on yourself, you know.
Dear, I'm such a tit. Anyway,
God. Actually,
I'm taking points away for these puns, you know.
in some ways, you should have it as a bum. Then I can have, oh my God, look at that butt. Yeah. Anyway, don't worry. Carry on.
Yeah.
Fell flat.
Where's that cricket sound effect?
Right next to the tolling bell and the sound of a tumbleweed going past. Anyway, carry on.
So Nell then, from Battle Beyond the Stars. Or alternatively, if you just want to reuse the same footage, Space Raiders, not the crisps apparently, or Star Quest 2, or Dead Space, none of which I've seen. I've only seen Battle Beyond the Stars, so that's what I'm sticking to, okay?
Good.
And that was what originally it was shot for. Same model and effect shots either way, thanks to Roger Corman's recycling proclivities.
Mm-hmm.
Corman wanted to make Star Wars, but only had the sort of budget Lucas spent in a day on cups of coffee, and this is what we get.
Nice.
It's an old Corsair, apparently, commanded by a young, idealistic farm boy called Shad. Sorry. But yeah.
Yep.
Look at when this came out. Yeah.
1980.
In defence of his homeworld, he sets off in Nell to gather a space fleet of similarly cut-price vessels to defeat the evil Sador and his mighty planet-destroying ship. Actually, I should have brought the mighty planet-destroying ship, shouldn't I? But never mind. Mm-hmm. But then again, I hate that's a horrible design. It's a nasty shunt between a blockade runner and a Star Destroyer.
Yep.
It probably split neatly in half when Shad finally destroyed it and they just glued it together. But anyway, believe it or not, they actually produced a model kit of this. A 1 in 144th scale. Available from Fantastic Plastic. Make of that what you will. Came in all of 12 pieces, so even I could have assembled that one, I think.
Yeah, coming in 12 pieces. Euphemism.
Depending on which online account you believe, the design is supposed to be based either on a longhorn cow kneeling down, but what are supposed to be knees look like an orange pair of boobs, or fallopian tubes, or, probably more likely, it's based on a statue of a naked woman with her arms folded back. Either way, it was worked on by one James Cameron. Hey! Who should have known better.
It's not his film, he didn't care.
Yeah, I guess so.
He was just working at it.
I didn't choose the ship, so it doesn't crash, but neither does it survive the movie, so I'm quite happy with that.
Yeah.
Shall we rate this then?
Oh, is that it?
That's pretty much it. And I mean, there's seen the film recently.
Wow.
Oh my.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay then. Well, let's go for it then. What's the scores on the doors then for you, sir?
Okay, size. Well, I had to work from the model kit on this one.
Okay.
Which is about 10 inches long. So according to scale, it's 36.5 meters. So that's a 1.
36.5. What?
Yeah.
Really?
It's not that big.
You can see the crew in the windows and everything on there.
Once you scaled it on that basis, it's not that big.
Okay, fair enough.
So that's a good
To
start.
be fair, though, this isn't the worst thing we've ever... What was it? The X-Bomber you used for DVD cover to scale it?
Yeah, I know.
Oh, no. What was the one where what was the ship where I went to a website where a guy literally worked out the size from the pixels?
Roger Young.
Oh,
Yeah.
Roger Young, yeah. There you go. Anyway.
I'm nowhere near as sad as that, clearly.
Okay.
Speed.
Speed.
In the film, she's got a good turn of speed on screen anyway, despite her unaerodynamic profile, but then she's flying in space most of the time, so that doesn't matter. No idea how long she'll take to cross the solar system, except there's no mention of a hyperdrive, and she manages to pass through different systems in no time flat, so I guess we're looking at 4 for that.
Yeah, okay. Fair enough. 4.
The balance to that, the yin to the yang, if you like,
Yeah.
is that there's no mention of a fast and life drive whatsoever, so that's a 0.
Right. There's not... What? Hold on. What? No faster than light drive. So this whole film takes place...
In one solar system?
In one solar system.
Yeah.
Really? Wow.
I wouldn't surprise.
Yeah,
I mean, it's been a while since I've watched it, if I'm honest.
Nobody seems to press a big red button and go to hyperdrive. It all seems to happen, within a few systems. I mean, literally, the bad guy's ship blows up one planet and then just drifts along to the next planet to destroy it. So,
Okay. Okay.
I mean, you can either do it this way, or if you want, take 3 for sublight and 1 for FTL. But
Well,
if as you say, it never goes from systems, then
and there's
we'll leave it
literally
as
no mention of going fast and light. I mean, literally just.
I tell you what, it's one for the next year's Christmas special.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I'm desperate to be fighting over this one.
Yeah, we'll all be there. We'll all be there in the pub going, no, we must give this more, God damn it.
Quite.
Yeah,
Maybe you'll have watched the other films by then.
Yeah, maybe.
maybe not.
Maybe.
Yes.
How about no?
So what's the deal then? What are we doing then? Just giving it 4 and
4
just
and
be done?
0, yeah,
4
let's
and
leave it
0.
You're right. I think it makes the most sense, just in terms of the dialogue in the film, anyway.
Okay.
It's only got the one drive, as far as we can tell, so it must be a pretty good, less than light speed drive. But yeah, maneuverability on the other hand. Now, in the best effect shots, which there aren't very many of,
Yeah.
she's doing barrel rolls. Woohoo!
Yeah, she is.
Takes on fighters, so she must be pretty maneuverable. So we're looking sort of 3 or 4-ish for this, I think.
I mean, yeah, I could easily go for a 4. I mean, it is pretty maneuverable, but that's because
Maneuverable.
I was gonna say it's pretty maneuverable, but that's because the people who are animating this thing
Yeah, I hadn't got a clue.
literally had no idea of how inertia or anything worked. It just literally turns
Spin
on
the camera around! Spin it around!
It literally is just someone chucking it around, turning it left and turning it right, whatever it needs to. So, yeah, I guess so. Okay, well, 4 it is then. No argument. Yeah, right, fine. Go on then.
Firepower. It's armed with the pink lasers of doom that shoot from her ovaries.
Okay.
They take out fighters in a single shot,
Right.
but that's not quite the same as a capital ship, clearly.
No, she fights his ship though, doesn't she? She fights what's his name, John Saxon's ship. She does shoot him and get through his shields. What are you asking for? Because I mean,
I was looking at 2 or 3 at most on this.
no,
to be honest.
I'd go a little higher than that. I mean, I would.
Based on
She doesn't do any damage to him though.
No, she does. When they attack his ship, you can actually see him. They do the usual, typical. He shoots the ship goes boom, and then you cut to John Saxon inside the ship, kind of rocking backwards and forwards. So, the fact that in our old scoring we had Slave 1, which I would have said is a very similar kind of deal.
Ooh, I wouldn't have said that at all.
No? Okay. Well, it's your ship. You can throw it under the bus all you like, mate.
No, I mean, literally, having watched it's got one weapon, and that weapon doesn't look massively impressive. I mean, there are tiny fighters that it blows up straight away, but I mean, they look like they're made of
Cardboard.
are they something from a Draconia? Are they?
Yes,
well-
not far off, actually.
Or something from somebody's nose, more like it. So,
Yeah, okay then. Well, then 2 it is. Way you go. Fine.
Right, what did I have for defence? Well, for active, it gets 1 for its manoeuvrability.
I'm just to go back to that manoeuvrability. I've
Yes.
kind of brought it up here on YouTube because I don't remember this thing moving quickly at all. I've just been skimming through it while we've been talking here. The full extent of its manoeuvrability I've seen is been gently rocking side to side. It's a bit like
No,
in
it
A New
does
Hope.
barrel rolls, believe me.
Yeah, it does
I've
do a
watched the
barrel
film
roll,
recently.
yeah.
It does barrel rolls.
Well,
That's
again,
pretty
a barrel roll. It's not actually a maneuverable. It's spinning on your own axes.
Oh, look quite cool.
Oh, if Lee's happy with it to 4, that's fine. I'm just saying. I'm looking through this. I'm like,
I'm happy with a 4 purely because it's that old thing we were doing before, which was to say, were we rating this against other ships, or are we rating this against in universe? But I suppose, yeah. I mean, to be quite honest, it does. It's the way it's kind of always portrayed in the film, and it never really shown that way, but it's kind of portrayed as this is the Millennium Falcon of the
It's supposed to be.
and it's obviously not, but
the way I would describe it is a lazy slug. But
yeah, that's not too far off, to be honest. But it's I mean, the fact that it does do barrel rolls, it does battle with smaller, faster fighters, and outmaneuvers them, and outmaneuvers laser blasts coming in from left, right, and centre. Tells me that it is manoeuvrable. So I don't have.
okay, no, I will I've not watched this in years. Fortunately, you haven't been foolish enough to put this on the docket of Black Dog for a while, so
It's not likely.
You know,
It was back in 2010, I think we did it for Black Dog.
Oh, fine,
I think that was the first time I watched it.
Yeah.
So
And then I literally watched it again a month ago and went, oh, yeah.
yeah, I will defer to your gentleman's judgment then. But fine. So special one for maneuverability then, or whatever
Yep.
it was.
Yep.
That
Yep.
was- yeah.
Don't worry, it's not going to get much further than this, to be honest. It's one for maneuverability. Go on. Defense.
Then we've got passive shields are mentioned, and they do manage to protect the ship quite well.
Yes.
So we're looking at 3 or 4 for that, I think.
A 3. Because they're not because it does get the shit shot out of it. And it's not. It never
It's not destroyed by
but it's
enemy fire.
It doesn't. But it's not far off, is it? By the end of the film, it's kind of sparking and breaking and just fits in all over the place.
Not so much, but that's only because they couldn't afford the effects, to be honest.
Yeah, it's true.
But no, 3's fine. I'm
3,
happy with
I'd be happy with a 3, not a 4 for sure.
Okay.
Because like you're talking with 4, we're looking at the Spirit of Fire, which just looked like a massive lump of lead with a shield around it. I don't think it's anything close to that.
No, that's fair enough. Then we come to special. We have an onboard computer that can fire the weapons itself.
Yeah.
Pretty good, isn't it?
AI, yeah. So it's got an yeah, that's fine. That's one.
And it also has a self-destruct that can take out a capital ship. So, is that worth a point?
Is that a weapon though? Is that a defense mechanism?
Well, it's the ultimate defense mechanism, isn't it? Because ultimately,
It's a bold move, Con. Let's see how this plays out.
Yeah, to be quite honest, if that's the case, I'd like to draw the attention of everyone to the USS Nostromo, which only had a special of 1. I'd like to add an extra one in there for the fucking enormous self-destruct.
I feel that the strength of your self-destruct is not really a viable tactical solution, and certainly not a defensive one, because at the very least, defense implies that you survive.
Yeah.
Well, the crew do, but yeah, not the ship. So okay, well it is.
Yes, yeah. I mean, it's a bold move, but certainly not. Yeah.
Realization.
No, we haven't got the crew first.
Oh, crew. Sorry, yes. In terms of numbers, we've got 1 for 1 because that's all it needs.
Competence.
And competence.
Yeah.
Oh God, what did I give this? Well, he starts out as a naive green bean, but he's literally pretty much one of the only few heroes to survive.
Yeah, only because all the rest blow up before he does.
Really badly as well. They're all taken out like punks.
Especially Sybil Danning in a Valkyrie
Yeah.
in a line straight into the ship. Boom. Or
And the hive mind guys.
they just elect to die, and then George Peppard just rolls off into the distance.
It's like that scene in Life of Brian. Suicide Squad, die!
Yeah, that showed them, huh? Yeah, so
it's quite hard to gauge, really, in universe how good this.
Relatively speaking, surviving a battle where 6 people out of 7 die, it's not really telling me
Sounds
much.
good, but the other 6 are so crap.
Yeah, I'm not asking. I will go on. What are you asking for?
I was asking for a 3 at best.
Best. In the first half of the film, A, he can't fly the ships. B, he can't shoot a single fighter getting away. And by the end of it, he doesn't even deliver the killing blow to the bad guy's ship. He literally survives by dint of the fact of being the person who doesn't get shot last. Really.
And takes the bad guy out. I mean, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that's by design or accident.
Yeah, well, that's up for debate, but I
don't think they're dwarf level.
No.
Right.
No, he's far more heroic than that.
Yes.
What about Ace Trucking Co?
That sounds a bit more like it.
No, I think he's a bit better than that, to be honest.
Yeah, but for 2 we've got Romulans. So are you saying he's as good as the Romulans?
He's about up there with the Romulans, really.
Yeah, next generation Romulans or original series Romulans.
Yeah.
Or,
I mean, we've got
It's
Ace
a
Trucking down at
fake.
1 for competence.
Okay, let's give him 2 and move on.
Yeah, I think that's about as far as I'm willing to go with that one. John Boy Walton with his big walt isn't going to really do much. But anyway, carry on.
Yes, this is the bit I was looking forward to. Realisation. Yeah.
Oh, good Lord.
I love model work. I much prefer model work generally to CGI.
Really? We haven't put that up at all.
Generally. But literally all they do most of the time here is plonk the model in front of a camera.
Yeah.
There's no effort to disguise its lack of detailing whatsoever. Yes, you can see where the bridge is, but that's it in terms of how realised she is. So 2 at best.
Yeah. I think 2's fine. Well, I'm looking at other 2s. I'm not entirely sure it's as good as
Saratoga a 2.
I'm not entirely sure it's as good as Rick Sanchez's spaceship myself, but
well,
gave the ID4 mothership a 2.
Yeah, fine. It's that. That's fine.
Spaceball 1 got 2.
Fine, 2 it is.
Okay.
Shonky
Interior.
model work. Oh, good Lord. It's a camper van with silver paper over the
my
windows.
parents used to have a picnic kit. A picnic hamper with loads of plastic plates and knives and forks and cups with the same colour orange as well. There is so much orange plastic on display in this bridge. It's untrue. Including the lousy joystick stroke steering wheel thing.
It is like a 1970s caravan with a steering wheel. That's
all he needed was the beads on the seat and it would have been away.
Yeah.
And the fluffy dice, obviously.
And some,
obviously, yes.
And some zigzag.
I think they reused it in Spaceballs for Eagle 5, didn't they?
No, Eagle 5 was much better than this.
So you see a reasonable bit of the ship, but it's mostly plastic. So 2.
You realise you just got lead to say something from Spaceballs was a positive, and you're asking for 2.
Yeah.
That sounds like a 1 to me.
It's not.
Well, things we've scored 1 generally up to now have been, incompetently realised. This is physical. It's there. It's just mostly.
It's poorly realised competently.
It's. I think the problem is it is like filming inside a VW camper van. So
it feels real,
it
not
feels real.
Great.
It feels like the sets would later get redressed and become like a runabout, but.
Ooh, you take that back.
No, I refuse. But I'll give you.
Kit's got claws.
Coming over there.
Meow. No, no, it's fine. You can have your 2. It's fine.
Science.
Yeah, tell us about his aerodynamics again, would you?
Yeah, quite. He should be splattered all over the cockpit. There's no explanation of gravity. That's just. Yeah, Roger Corman was really big on science. Really, he was. No.
Not really.
No.
Away
it doesn't do
with
anything
the fairies.
massively stupid, but they just don't care. So,
No.
What, 2
1.
for that as well?
1. 1.
One is when things get really stupid. It doesn't do anything really stupid.
Okay.
It exists, doesn't it?
Yeah, 2. That's fine. Go on, 2 is cool. Okay, cool factor. This will be interesting.
Yeah, she's a fugly ship produced on a shoestring. She's not the breast-looking thing ever, is she? Oh, hey!
Ha-ha!
Can we go in a negative? Because again, for every pun, I want to take a point off.
Yeah.
I'll give it 1.
Yeah? 1.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it a big fat fuck all. I really hate this ship. It looks horrible.
It's wank, isn't it?
It is wanky. It's just like someone took a motorcycle seat and just stuck
James
some
Cameron.
boobs on.
Remember, this is James Cameron.
James Cameron, who was working for pittance and had just finished making Piranha 2, Flying Killers. It's not the same James Cameron.
Yeah.
Go on in, Andy.
Randy?
Would you like to try and guess what I'm going to give
I'm
it?
going to say 0.
I expect it's a round number.
You're quite right. Mark it 0.
So it got a whole 1.
Yes.
There you
I don't
go.
even matter. That's
more
officially
bit
mandate. He has to give it 1. So.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go. So Nell from Battle Beyond the Stars has a magnificent 26 points. Back to your standard score.
Yes, that's much more like it.
That's the standard score, which is still sadly like at least 7 points higher than Thunder Road, which is kind of sad.
You are
Yeah, but that was dustbins.
You are firmly in Peter territory, though, because you're right between the Ark and the red one from Lilo and Stitch.
Well, there you go. So it's consistency.
And a Speedo Ghost. And the 66 Dalek Saucer.
Yep.
So yeah.
That's it. So there you go. Well, that's that ship. That's a thing that happened.
Yes.
Oh dear. And yeah, I actually did worse than I thought it would do. I thought it would do better than the prawns, but never mind.
Really?
Yeah, I did. Because there was no
well realised.
There's
This is just a piece of orange plastic.
Yeah, that's fair enough. It is a lunchbox with a seat in it.
Yeah.
But there you go. Hey ho, right. Well, now it's time for you, Andy.
Okay, I'm bringing, I know, another video game, Spaceship. You're shocked, I can tell.
It's a big brick as well.
It's a brick. It's a video game brick. You know, one of us at least is sticking to formats here.
Yep.
Well, no, you brought Peter's ship.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyway, so yes, I'm bringing the Kushan mothership from the first Homeworld game, not the Higaran one from the second game, the one from the first game, which, near as I can tell, makes zero fucking difference either way. But anyway, so a bit of background for those who don't know. As I mentioned, this is from the Homeworld game, which I believe came out in 1999. God,
so very
old. And it was built in orbit of the planet Karrak after the discovery of the car Tobarek, along with the Guard Stone, which told the Kushans that they actually sent from another planet far, far away. A little bit of background story here. Homeworld, originally they wanted to do a Battlestar Galactica video game, but they couldn't get the rights. So they did their own version of a Exodus through the stars sort of thing. Anyway,
cool.
So the mothership, it was envisioned to use the map on the Guide Stone to chart its way across the galaxy back to their ancestral homeworld of Higara. The mothership was designed not only to serve it as an exploratory vessel, but also a colony ship, and it was capable of carrying as many as 600,000 cryogenically frozen Kushans in storage, as well as a crew of 50,000 to maintain the ship's systems and the cryo trays. And to man the ship's area systems, and to, take care of the ship construction and refinements, because as well as being an exploratory vessel and a cryo ship, this is also a motherfucking factory, which builds everything from little scouts all the way up to fucking capital ships. The mothership was a grand undertaking, taken over 60 years. The design went through at least 2 stages before it was finalised, but the basic design held and never changed significantly. It has one large hangar in the centre of the ship, accessible from both sides, partly to store the cryo trays and partly to allow the strike craft and capital ships to be launched, as well as any enemy battle cruisers you might have captured in the course of your mission. On fleet intelligence's insistence, a point defence grid system was built along the mothership's hull. The defence system was made up of mass driver turrets based on new technology that used electromagnetic fields to propel projectiles through the vacuum of space. While this defence grid is useless against larger ships, it can be used to defence against smaller fighters and bombers. In addition, several warship designs passed through fleet intelligence and were accepted as possible construction, many of which were later used during the Homeworld War. The final and most important piece of the mothership's construction was that of the central processor unit, or a supercomputer which covered several decks. It was in here that Karen Sijet, a neuroscientist, basically had herself mechanically bonded into the ship, becoming its living core, with some sort of bio-neural interface, allowing instantaneous understanding of everything that's going on and issuing orders in a very sexy voice. That's pretty much it. That's what I've researched anyway. Shall we do the whole rating of this thing that we do?
Yes, let's do this thing. Okay, right. Go for it.
Do the thing. So for size, as Lee mentioned, which is a brick, a bit of a big one, measuring in at 41.6 kilometres.
41 point. Now, where is that on our scale?
It's not the biggest thing we've brought.
No,
I think it's the second biggest thing we've brought.
It's a 13 on the size. 13. So it's
13.
13. So there you go. Go for it.
There you go. I think I've already pretty much up to where you two were first.
I was going to say, you've pretty much caught us up in one go. Go on.
For sublight speed, as mentioned, it's a brick. It can very slowly progress across the map, but it's going to take you fucking donkey's years. So that's a 1 for sublight.
Yeah, very.
That's a very generous 1.
I was going to say that's yeah. I think I'll just skip.
FTL is a bit better. I'd say this is somewhat analogous to Star Wars or Battlestar Galactica type jump gates.
Yeah,
the gate opens, you go through. It basically traverses fully one half of a galaxy in a matter of weeks. So.
Yeah, but it has to stop. It has to do the Galactica thing of dropping out, charging up, fueling up, and then moving on.
There's no actual limit on the actual time. The only time it has to stop and do a recharge is when it's stuck in a nebula, but that's with the hyperspace inhibitors. But yeah, I get your point. I mean, I'm only asking for about 3 for that, which I think is what you said, Star Wars-y sort of.
I was going to say it's a Galactica thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's about that.
Do you know what it? Do you know how? Have you seen this thing, Jim? What am I talking about? He's not here. Euphemism. Pete, have you seen this thing?
I've seen a bit of video with this thing plodding across the screen.
Okay, yeah, plodding is definitely what it does.
Plodding is definitely the word. Maneuverability, it's 1. It's
Yeah. It's only marginally better than the prawn ship, to be frank.
Well, it does actually function in space. I think that's a plus in of itself, isn't it?
Yeah, it's true.
Right.
Okay, firepower.
Now I have a question here for firepower.
The
ship itself doesn't have much. It's mostly just a point defense system.
Yes.
However, we recently did the Saratoga, and we've also done things like Galactica and Pegasus, which have got fighter craft, which are used in an offensive manner. So they're not a defensive thing; they're an offensive manner, and we've counted these in an offensive way. This thing not only can make and manufacture its own fighters, though, it can also make and manufacture its own capital ships. So I am asking, with no expectations, I am asking, what do we think this does to it?
I mean, in some ways, you go, right, okay, it's making loads and loads of bigger ships. The key here isn't that that's anything to do with firepower, though, is it? These are ships in and of themselves,
which we would rate.
They are ships in and of themselves. That's correct. But again, in something like the Saratoga,
it had big cannons on the. It had big cannons on the deck.
It had big cannons, but a big point of it was made about its fighter craft. And again, with the Galactica and with the Pegasus, its Viper squadrons are integral to its offensive firepower.
But I think for ease of scoring, because we use those within the special under defence.
That was my recollection.
Well, in that case, I think 1 on the firepower, just because it does have those mass drivery things there.
Yeah,
but
that's fair.
So,
but those mass drivers are pretty powerful. I mean, I'd go up to a bomber sort of thing. That would be a 3.
Well,
because I mean, it can shoot down. It can cut things in half.
Yeah, it will shoot down anything up to about the size of a Corvette.
Yeah.
So, all right, fine. I'll take that.
I mean, I don't want to. I haven't got the knives out for this one, but I have to say, I take your point about making ships, but the point is,
like I say, it wasn't if offered with any expectation of saying, "Ha, you must now give me many points." No, it was just I wanted to understand where we have a situation where we have a foundry ship like this, which can manufacture stuff. What does I mean? We'll address it when we get to special, because it's going to have to count for something there.
Yeah, exactly. But I think in that in many respects, and this is going to sound like I'm dissing it, but I'm not. But the thing is, if you look at something like the Red Dwarf, for example, it hasn't got much in the way of firepower. Starbug has, and it can make. You can, in theory, not necessarily fast, but you can make other ships inside it. So if you were, you couldn't, but yet we don't account those for the ship itself. No. I think when we're talking about firepower, we're talking about emplacements upon the ship.
On the ship
itself.
That's fair enough. I'm happy with that. For defence, active, 1 for the point defence system.
Yes.
And I think I'm going to ask for 1 for the... it has ECM in so much as fleet intelligence and counter-jet. they are able to infiltrate other bio-core sort of things. They're interfacing with the Bentusi, also with the Tidani ones and things like that. So there's an ECM aspect there. So I'll ask for 2 on active.
Yeah, that's fine. I've got no problem with that.
For passive, this thing is insanely heavily armoured. This thing, again, you get capital ships next to it, they can be blasting away at it. It takes a while to destroy the thing. I'm not asking for 5 or anything like that, but I'm asking for a 3 or a 4 just because it is insanely heavily armoured.
It's just kind of interesting because in the many ways I think a 4 would be suitable, but that's because it is insanely heavily armoured. But the thing is, it's heavily armoured by dint of the fact that it's just so big that taking it down is the...
Well, isn't it? It may say quantity has a quality all of its own.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like it's like if you had 1,000 fighters shooting at the Galactica, does that make its armor even better, or does it make it just too big for any ship to take down?
We've made that argument with both the Death Star, the Pegasus, and I think the Spirit of Fire. It is largely the fact there is strength through size, if you will.
Yeah.
So I asked for a 4 for that then, because again, it's
okay. Pete, do you have any thoughts on that matter? I mean, just away from the ship itself, but just in terms of its pure mass compared to everything else in the universe.
What?
Well, let's put it this way.
What we're saying is, if a ship, because we have 4 is supposedly shields, correct? What do we say? Is it supposedly
4 is Trek shields, very very heavy armor.
Yeah. Well, we're saying very very heavy armor as a 4.
Yeah, I was just trying to sort of establish another little extra wrinkle in the 4 in terms of a ship being absolutely so gargantuan that nothing can actually take it down with a shot.
Unless it has a thermal exhaust port.
Exactly.
Yeah.
but you know what I mean? It's like with if the Death Star had no thermal exhaust port, then shooting it, they could have just carried on pummeling it for months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just wouldn't have died. But that's purely because of just the sheer size of the thing.
I mean, to be fair, that's why a lot of them build them this sort of size, though, isn't it? It is so they are. Because there's no other reason, is there?
No, absolutely not. But I just think it's just an interesting thing to take note of, because we're bound to get to this again. The ship is just so big that nothing else can.
The only instances where I don't think that's going to count is when we can see it's fucking huge, but it's taking damage left, right, and centre. So
from similarly powered ships. Yeah, even if they're not the right size. Okay, well, fair enough.
So
4.
Okay, well, we're here at special now anyway. So, I feel, because typically we put in things like special. We've got fighters and stuff like that, and armed support craft. So that's 1 off the gate.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to ask for 1 for its ability to capture and subvert enemy ships.
Doesn't that count as ECM, which you've already put in?
Well, no, ECM. It's a different thing. ECM is when the core counter jet hacks into the Tidani Emperor. Blokey.
Yes. Yeah.
This is when you have your salvage corvettes pull one of the enemy ships into your mothership, and it is captured, and then enters into your service.
Yeah,
because I've got to tell you, one of my favourite tricks is you take a cloaking generator and 5 corvettes.
Yeah.
You park it off behind one of the enemy battle cruisers, and you basically hoik it up and take it back to your mothership, and then it becomes yours.
So in theory, taking one of their ships and utilising it for your own. You
effectively you bring it into your ship, kill all the crew, put your own crew on it, and
turn it
enjoy.
Yeah. There is a precedent for that with the Borg cube, so you can get a 1 for that. Yep.
Fine. I think we should have a separate one from its factory capabilities. In so much as with its park it next to an asteroid field, it will keep turning out ships.
But they're still ships. They're still ships.
They're still ships, but this is the ship that's building the ship. I'm not asking for points for those ships. I'm asking for a point for its ability to make those ships.
Well, haven't we already given it a point for that? I'm confused.
No, we haven't.
Well,
we had a discussion about doing that, but we didn't give it away.
yeah. I mean, the question. I guess the question is, if look at it this way: if you're looking at it from the outside, you're looking at the ship. And again, I'm completely up for discussion about this. I'm not up for an argument about it. It's just discussion. If you're looking at it from the outside, fighters come out and corvettes and what have you. Now, whether or not they come out from a landing bay or come out from a factory, does that make any difference in terms of?
It's well, I suppose the point I'm trying to get across and get the point is, I think its ability to manufacture capital class ships should count separate to its ability to launch and man fighters, because we have the fighters and everything from Galactica, Saratoga, Pegasus, Star Destroyers, things like that. But I think it's unique so far in the ships we brought in that it is able of manufacturing its own capital ships. It's like a factory ship out of the culture in that respect, isn't it? It's
very much so.
Able to build up to carriers and stuff like that. I mean, it could pretty much build anything up to the size, not as big of itself, but again, carriers. And those carriers themselves can go off and build shit. But it's as a through ship. I think that is worth a separate point to its ability to launch and have fighters.
I think I could be convinced, but I mean, let's hear from Pete. What do you think, sir?
Well, therefore, if it's able to build its own ships as opposed to just carrying ships, therefore theoretically it's got an infinite supply of ships. So therefore, I don't have a problem with that getting an extra point.
Okay, 3 points. Don't push it.
I'm just reading on the thing. Look, I'm not going to claim anything for an onboard military. We don't see anything like that. I'm not going to. It does repair itself, but I don't know if I can claim it in the same way as the Borg do, because it's when you leave a battlefield in a state, you turn up at the next one
in a state.
Repaired. No, you don't turn up at the next one. You're fully repaired at the next one. So the ship is capable of regenerating over a period of time. But it's not like there is something going on there.
Yeah, but it needs in many cases during the actual game you need assistance from those little, the little utility vehicles.
But the mothership itself will regenerate on its own, just incredibly slowly.
Yeah.
There are those.
In many ways, though, I think that sort of thing, that regeneration very slowly, kind of. I don't know if that's in the wiki or whatever you're reading this from.
Well, I don't know if that implies just damage control. Is what I was.
Exactly. I was going to say if that's just people inside just shoring up the hull, whereas in the case of the Borg,
we'll leave it for now. I mean, if further information comes to light later, we can revisit it.
Yeah, I'm happy to give it an additional point if it comes out later that it's actually the ship itself doing that, but. The fact that you have to get your little utility bees to actually do it nice and quick, so kind of implies to me that actually it's not a technological thing that's making rid of repairs. It's the crew inside.
But how cool are those technology bees anyway? I mean, I'm not asking for a point, but I'm saying that is a cool technology right there.
Yeah,
and I'm pretty sure Star Trek would fucking love that.
Yep.
Anyway, so what's next? Crew, isn't it?
Yeah.
Crew, 50,000, please.
Is that points or just the amount of crew?
That's just the amount of crew.
So you're asking for a 10 in crew size. Okay.
And I'm not even counting the colonists because they're just sitting
Doesn't matter.
doing their own thing.
Go on in. And competence. Now, we've got video game competence, so that's a 4.
I'm just going to go with video game competence because when I play them, one particular mission, my crew's captured the entire enemy fleet.
Yes.
Which was so fun. It's just like, stealing all your ships, bro. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah, exactly.
So I mean, video games, I just think we've got to give it a blanket for because
they're as good as
it's as good as the player is. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Your mileage may vary.
Exterior.
The exterior. Now, I'm not going to claim top of the line stuff at all because I can't. This is a game from 1999. Yes. But I will say this was recently released as a remaster. And I still think it stands up particularly well. I mean, I'm probably going to just kind of go for the middle ground and go for 3. I like the design of the ship. I think it's unique. It's different. It's iconic. In video games, it's iconic. And again, like I said, in the remastered version that we've just seen, Hang about, I'll find a picture to send over to Pete so we can.
Even
I mean,
though it looks...
the thing I watched on YouTube just now didn't look like
No,
that.
you probably
It looked
watched. You
shit.
probably watched the one that was the.
So what do we count? Do we count what actually the game looked like, or
No,
how
the-
somebody
the-
is super?
This is this is what the game looks like though, because they've remastered the game.
Yeah, are you looking at the remaster? That's the thing, because the remaster got a big spring overall, and the one that Andy sent the latest one, the one that's blue and orange and with the yellow stripes around the outside, that's the in-game graphic.
Yeah,
They're both in game.
it doesn't look particularly real to me, but there we go.
No, I mean, I don't.
Give it 3. Move on.
Yeah, no. I'm just for myself. The only thing that bothers me with this one, and normally I don't worry too much about this, so I mean I'm quite up for the 3 and not having the argument, but with that little central exposed bit, the little column with the gap, the textures on that column look bloody awful. I'm going to say that because it just looks like someone's just taken a load of street lights and just wrapped them around a cylinder, and it's effective, but it's not something that I would look at and go, wow. I mean, the rest of the ship looks nice, but that little cutaway bit always bugged me in the original game. But in this one, without the lights, because they did quite a nice little trick of sort of putting little blue and orange lights on the original.
Well, yeah, you had all the running lights and stuff like
whereas
that.
Whereas in this one, they kind of give it a nice sort of blue glow and that column in the middle. And it looks like one of those advert columns that you see in like Piccadilly Circus or something, and it's not horrific, but it's just something which my eye is always drawn to because the lights disappear up that column in the intersection. It's just like, oh, that's where the texture cuts off then. But yeah, 3. Never mind. Cool.
Now for interiors, we do see some interiors, but we only ever see them in the cutscenes, which are done in this very stylized black and white sort of motion graphic sort of sense. I'm only going to ask for 1 because what we do see is pretty. You see the bit where Karen's the jet is the computer core section.
Yeah.
You see the cryo bays, you see the hangars, and I love the style they use, but we just don't see much of it. So I'll just ask for 1.
No, 1's about right. Okay, science.
I don't know. It's what do we do for big ships? Which I mean, it's got hyperspace, so it's 2 or 3. It's it's not winning any awards for science.
No, it's not. I mean, I would say 2 simply because if we're going to go through it, I mean, the fact it can produce a capital ship in under like 15 seconds.
I'll take the 2. I'm not looking for the argument here.
No, that's fine.
It is what it is. So, yeah.
Okay, cool factor.
For me, I'm giving it the 4, partly for the design of a ship, partly for the emotional impact this game has. It's still that first mission when you hyperspace back to Karak and you see it on fire and the music at Adagio for String starts playing. It still gets me every time.
Oh, yeah.
And the entire game, it's beautiful, beautiful game. Seriously, anyone out there, this is available on PC and Mac and everything, whatever. Go give it a go because it's a really, really good game. It still stands up today. So yeah, I'm giving it 4.
Yeah. Okay, and Pete.
Yeah, well, it's different.
Mm-hmm.
It's a giant flying wing, which is interesting. And just the Adagio and strings gives it a point. So, yeah, give it a point.
So 1.
Yep. I'm feeling generous today.
Oh, wow, there you go. So that's 5. I'm going to give it 3 because I have the similar attachment to this. So I do think it's a very unique looking ship, and I think its place within the game makes it very good. I mean, if it was my choice and my ship, I wouldn't have given it more than 3, but I think 3's fair. So there you go. So there you go. That's the is it not the Hagarans? Who are they again?
It's the Kushan.
The Kushans, yeah.
Yes.
The
They just put a Homeworld mothership.
The Homeworld mothership. There you go. So the Homeworld mothership from the game Homeworld Remastered, it has a score of 58 points. Yay!
It's big and it's got lots of people on it.
Well, I was going to say, primarily down to the huge amount of people and the huge, ruddy, great size. So there you go. So that's our episode.
Right below the Normandy, another video game ship.
Sorry?
It's right below the Normandy.
Yeah, there you go. One day Pete will bring a video game ship and just smash it and hit right at the top of the scores, and we'll be like, oh my god.
We'll be so shocked, we're just going to give it 10 points or whatever.
Down and up. Everything's down, everything's up. Dogs and cats living together. Right, so there you go. The Homeworld Mothership 58, which means, of course, that Andy has won. Second is myself with the Prawn Mothership, and then finally, down at the bottom is the booby bike of doom, Nell, with 26 points this week. So, now it's down to us to tell you what we're going to do next time. Right, so here we go. Next time, am bringing the Prometheus. Andy?
What?
I'm bringing the Prometheus.
Okay, and Pete?
Well, I think I might bring the Prometheus.
So there you go.
Yeah.
Prometheus. Try saying that when you've had a couple of beers.
We'll have to next week, won't we?
Yeah, I was going to say, 15 tequilas down and I'll be Prometheus. Fuck it. I'll punch you all. So, yes. So there you go. Next time, Prometheus.
Your fire's mine, you bastards.
Yeah, peck me on a rock all you like. Thanks for listening. Thank you to Pete and Andy, and thank you, all of you, for supporting the show. And do join us on the Facebook group, which is facebook.com/groups/spacedocjury. And, join us on Twitter as well, which is @spacedocjury. And, we'll see you all next time for Prometheus.
Yay!
Prometheus. Yay. Prometheus. Goodbye.
Bye!
I should go.
Space Doc Jury is a production by 3 Angry Beards for GeekPlanetOnline.com.